So I kind of mostly just wanted to shift this meeting to be what the plan is going to be around
Sure.
all the different balls in the air.
Yep.
Um, I will say, especially working things out with Grace and what schedule she's going to do with her work, because again, she can't go completely gone with her dad. Uh,
Yep.
Yeah.
he's still bedridden. So with her dad still not working at all, she can't go 100% off.
Right.
And I'm fully realistic that I can't go 100% off. That's just not a reality. But I think if I can maybe try to do about 2 half days a week, I think I can kind of keep things afloat, maybe a third half day a week. Um, Mainly with, I think if I do 2 half days a week, I can cover all the interviews. I was really kind of going back and forth on what I wanted to do with that. And I thought, really the hardest part with interviews is you're interviewing, over 100 kids usually. You're trying to put together a crew that works with each other. If you have
Yeah.
maybe up to
Yep.
4 different people with their perspective and who didn't see the other applicants, that trying kind of mishmash of trying to then create a team at the end of it is gonna be even harder than just figuring out some times that I can just kind of see the whole scope. I kind of call it the Breakfast Club style. I want to hire, little bit of all the different styles and, to have that type of conversation with each of us and then get a well-rounded group would just be too hard with juggling
Sure.
everybody.
Sure.
So, kind of the plus side of that is that Sandy and I had already talked about switching interviews to be primarily nights because that just is better for the kids to have for availability and would mean that less dates total we had to come in for interviews, and that works pretty well for Grace's schedule. So
Okay,
I think I canceled the interviews yesterday and today. I'm going to be able to do them tomorrow. And then for the next handful of weeks, it's just 2 nights a week that I would go in to do interviews. So I think we're going to be able to juggle that. The other thing is, just basics, expense reports, getting in, payroll, getting the yoga teacher and volleyball teachers paid and things like that. I think I'm going to reach out to Jess and see if she's comfortable with me emailing those things in. Because I just do it all on the computer and I print it out anyway and hand it to her. So she's comfortable already. What we previously have done is my payroll and our MyRec, website deposits. I already do those through email to her because it's just easier for speed to get them in. Everything else, usually you just have to do it sometime in the month. And so I always can just do it in person. So I'm going to see if she's comfortable with that. And if she is, I think I can even just do the basic expense report type of keeping things afloat. It might take me like an hour a week, at most to juggle all that and just kind of make sure they're in nice packages for her and all that. So if she's comfortable with that, I think that's my plan there. And if not, I think I'm going to basically do the same thing, but ask if there's one of you that I could just email the final thing, and then you are just the print and hand in if it has to be handed in. But at least the little like packaging of putting it all together. Mostly, obviously I think, especially in my conversations with each of you individually, I think all of us would love to be the type of department that would just say, cool, go away for a month or two, come back when you're done. But that, handing it all over is going to end up being more work than just kind of keeping those little things afloat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And luckily, there's some things that, for instance, pickleball instruction, right? Like that's actually already done. I have it's posted, registration's open. I already did the documents to hire the teacher. So like there's going to be things that are coming that are new, which usually I would just say nothing, let's not do anything new. There's going to be things that are new, but they're already done.
Okay.
The biggest things that aren't done, one is not done, but are kind of continuous, is marketing. So Laura, I'm not gonna want to keep up with when to do social media posts, when to do that, reminders, hey, 3 more days till applications end, all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I would love to kind of go through with you, where basically I think my favorite idea, and then I want to hear what you have to say but my favorite idea is to go through with you where you can look for deadlines and dates of registrations and stuff,
Yep.
And so then you can kind of be tracking, okay, well, I know because I know how to, view the website. I
Yeah.
know that archery starts in a week, so I'm going to do a reminder registration for archery, register for archery now type of thing.
Yep.
I think if you're comfortable with me showing you where to get that, then you can monitor it yourself instead of me kind of having to babysit
Yeah.
when, hey, do it now type of thing. I think that
Yeah.
would be helpful because I'm
Sure.
guessing for me, timetables are going to be hard.
Yes. They
Doing
sure
things
will
at
be.
very specific times is probably going to be the most difficult. So yeah, so I figure that's probably a good conversation for you and I to have of just go through the current programs and all of that. Again, the biggest one's going to be Kids at Play.
Yeah.
And like getting the A-frame signs, out there or updated if you had talked about a new logo and a new look. If you want to do any of that, cool. I can kind of put you in touch with Signs Plus. If not, then just getting them out.
I think we're
Yep.
going to do status quo right now.
Yeah. So little things like that of just making sure those things happen so that
Yep.
we still get registrations for Kids at Play, we still get staff hired, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say, like, anything that needs to be done at the town hall, I can like throw a snowball and hit the town hall from here.
Yeah.
So I can definitely do that, and I'm home
Okay.
all day. I have a printer, or I can go to the library. And then any of the sandwich board stuff, like any things that need to be, delivered, I can do all of that stuff. So definitely lean into me for that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Chris.
That was kind of my mindset too, was I was thinking if Jess isn't comfortable with the expense report plan, I was thinking of
Yep.
sending them over to you and having you kind of do the shuttling.
Yep.
The other thing I think that would be really helpful is just, and it doesn't have to be that option, but like monitoring our mailboxes. Sometimes people throw stuff in there unexpectedly and you're just kind of like, okay, if I hadn't seen that, like it wouldn't be great.
Yep.
Usually there's nothing huge. But yeah, that just would be helpful. And I can get you the key to the outdoor mailbox, and then otherwise there's just the
Oh,
one
that
in
mailbox,
town hall.
okay. The
Yep.
physical mailbox. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the physical one out in front of town hall, and then there's the mailbox in town hall. Again,
Yeah.
we rarely get stuff that really matters,
Mm.
but just
If you
Yeah.
want to give that to me, I mean, I can literally like walk down there and check it out. That's fine. Yeah.
honestly, in a slow time, I check it out like once every 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
like to do it once every week, but there's nothing that pressing.
Yeah. It'll keep me out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
and then,
I think Sandy reported that she put something in the mail slot. So
Yeah.
and that's
And that's-
inside.
that's just a copy of the pickleball instructors forms that were
Yep.
sent to Sandy.
Yep.
So again, that all happened virtual. Pretty much everything in my job happens virtual, so that's the nice thing. There's not a lot of physical. Going to the department head meeting, that actually I would love to see if I can have you do that, Chris. It's just once a month, so it might even just be the next one. The only reason is because we're gonna start getting into, does DPW have any updates that we should know about? Is it Board of Health? Like just kind of check it. Sometimes it is relevant, even though it's not usually,
Yeah.
but sometimes it is relevant to just hear about the other departments in case they're like, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you blank happened.
Right.
And so this is, a limb fell on the tennis courts, and like sometimes they forget to tell us because they're just dealing with it, and it comes out in situations like that. So
Yep.
just it's like I said, it's once a month. It's usually the first Tuesday of every month, at like 10 a.m. And you can even just say like pass when they ask for an update, because really it's just so that we can hear if there's anything relevant to us.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Will they send me then the reminder, or is it a virtual or is it live?
No, it's in person. I can ask Joe if he's comfortable with it. I don't actually know if it's something they'd be comfortable with, but
Mhm.
again, if people miss them all the time, but I just know that as we get closer to things opening, they also
Yeah.
forget to tell us a lot. So I like to kind of pay attention for those little updates. It's probably going to be pointless, but I kind of figured
Yeah.
if you're available to go, that would be wonderful. And
Yeah.
if not, no worries.
I can cover that, no problem.
Cool.
You'll be in the know about the town, Chris.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
You get
Very
you
exciting.
get more dirt than you think, especially when you get to like the planner and the assessor and stuff like that, you're like, ooh, what house was it? I'm gonna look that up later.
I'll write a book.
Yeah. Police updates. But yeah, I mean the other stuff is really gonna be like at some point. Oh, bands, before I forget.
Oh, yeah.
Part of my right now timeline is starting to reach out to bands. That one I would love to hand off because it is just a lot of flying emails at this stage, because it's just collecting their availability and rates. And then once I kind of have collected everyone, I look at all of their rates and our budget and I like do the puzzling together. So if through the recreation email, or unless somebody wants to take it, typically how I do it is I do a blast email to everyone who's on our, hey, previously we've contacted them list, which I have and I can send. And then Laura, I also do like a seeking bands blast out on social media. And so
Yep.
between those two things, I get a lot of responses. The response, all I care about is out of our dates, which are you available for and how much are you charging? And then I just wait.
Yep.
And then I do a later kind of answering.
Mhm.
So that is going to be something that does need to happen pretty soon. Okay, great. Perfect.
We're gonna
So
give
I
you a
can,
stipend somehow, Chris.
yeah.
Those of us without jobs can do these things.
Yeah, and again, I can send you the very basic emails, but just keeping up with their responses is something that I think would be tough right now.
Yeah, I
But
can do
the
that.
initial basic information I can send to you. I think it's a good idea to scratch the food truck idea for this year. Again, limit new.
Yeah.
There is a family day being planned by the Nipmuc Parents Association stuff. It's actually pretty much already planned. Already worked out with DPW about bathrooms. They're putting in reservations. They know that DPW is informed, police is informed. There's going to be, they picked a day we're open, so there's going to be lifeguards and everything. The water's already going to be tested. Like, we've kind of done all of the things that they should know. But I guess if they have any last minute questions, I have already told them that I'm going to be out, but out meaning I'm going to just be checking more infrequently, not out 100%.
Yep.
But we've kind of already done it, so it would be just more if anything pops up, but just so you're aware. And I did tell them to start filtering things through the recreation email address.
Okay.
But yeah, the other stuff is really just at some point we're gonna need to do a t-shirt order. I think that can happen late enough that I should be, back in more of a substantial way. They typically need a month and a half turnaround, so we have a good amount of time for that. It's a company we've used before, and we're not
Yep.
going to change the logos or anything, so we're just going to say yes, more please. Here's the number we need.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep it easy. And then, things like communicating back in. So the biggest thing right now is going to be the communicating back and forth with the interview kids. Again, because I think it's just going to actually take more time for me to try to hand that off. Because yeah, of all the systems, I think I'm just going to take it. I can usually send a quick email on my phone as a response. They're often just asking, where in town hall is it? Can I reschedule? Blah, blah, blah. Like things that are easy for me to take on.
Yep.
But yeah, inventory eventually should be back by then. Did I go? Is that me?
No, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
You're
I'm
back, but a little
everybody's
fuzzy
back.
sound.
Okay. Anyway, but they're really we're kind of in a weirdly a nice sweet spot where a lot of the planning's already done. Oh, field trips. I'll say that in a second. And then the next set of planning kind of hasn't started yet. So field trips and bands were going to be the two big ones that I was going to bring up. But the next set of stuff of inventory, t-shirts, opening the beach. I like to do a power wash, get the grill clean, all those things I should be back in time for. And then the things that are already done. So the right now things tend to be bands and then field trips.
Okay.
field trips is similar to bands, where I tend to reach out to a couple of we do them every year. Actually, even already have Urban Air booked because I wanted to get in there kind of early rate. But any new, so if we want to change it up and try something new this year, it's similar to bands. I reach out to a bunch of places, I see what their availability is based on our dates, and then I kind of just piece it together from there. And then typically, if you all remember from last year, we just decide on the rates, and then we can add field trips to the website.
Yep.
I'm hoping to open field trips maybe in like May or June, but places are notorious, at least the last few years, for being slow to respond and then all of a sudden needing an answer. So starting early will kind of let us be able to get all the information at the same time that we need to make the decision.
Yep.
Financial assistance, I already built the application. It's going to be online. I've already had the meeting with Katie and Tanya. We're going to, we have all that sorted out, and that's going to launch April 1st. So that's just kind of done. But that is sort of like a separate open timetable.
Mhm.
Okay.
And what about like all the emails, incoming emails from just various people? Are you going to handle those, or how do you want to do that?
Yes. So my out of office right now says I'm out of office and I'll be checking infrequently. Please send everything to the RecCom email. I would say anything that you know the answer to, feel free if you want, especially anything that seems like time sensitive. And if you don't know the answer, then I, will be checking infrequently so I can get back to them. The hard thing is going to be a little bit the organization of that, how to know
Right.
like who's responded to what, if all of us are dipping into it. So I would just, maybe make sure that I don't really know how to handle that organization yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if it's password related or reservation request things, let me I'll take the lead, and I'll just monitor back and forth whether or not I get it or Maria's already answered or something like along those lines. They can certainly answer back to all, but
Yeah.
I'll take first crack at those because I do have the access rights within the system to be able
Right,
to
right.
reset a password and that type of stuff. So,
Yeah.
not that you guys can't or get the permissions and change, but I have it. It may not be timely to them, but I can get to it.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll reply all, because again, sleeping baby, sometimes I can hop on and do some stuff real quick, just to knock it out and kind of move on, and try to keep it all cleaned up. So I'll reply all so that you all will see
Mm-hmm.
what at least I'm handling, but again, the timetable of it all. Rick, just so I know
Yep.
if it's an all or nothing, are you comfortable doing registration, like transfer if they want to switch a week to a week, or a cancellation, or do you not?
I
feel comfortable with
probably can. It's been a while since I've probably gone in and done some of those, so I may need to go back and look at my cryptic notes that I wrote, or that I had written up and originally given to you X amount of years ago, right? Just
Yeah.
to remember how to do it. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, if there's a couple of those that come up, I can certainly try to jump in and help out there as well. If there's ones that doesn't seem to be working, then you know what, I'll probably just text you and go, hey, just as an FYI, right? This particular one, I'm having just problematics, problematic for me, and let's huddle when you get a chance.
I gotta go take potatoes out of the oven. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Don't want burned potatoes.
So
Turn
really
into potato
things
chips.
yeah. Then things really just turn into like odds and ends. So for instance, pickleball had asked about adding that hatch to the tennis courts, and like obviously I'm not bothering Dennis with this right now. He's in full winter cleaning zone, ice and all that.
he is.
But we know that they're gonna follow up and ask. So things like that, I'm basically not. I'm just
Yeah.
not.
So,
And
so,
I did
yeah.
tell Marilyn about this. Yeah.
okay, so with
I think.
pickleball, right, because obviously they are a hands-on group,
Yeah.
right? And all right, I'll just leave it at that since this is
Yep.
being recorded.
Yep.
So, is there anything, outside the hatch? Is there, I mean, court times for spring kickoff? Um, they've already got all the signage to put out when all that's done. So there really isn't all that much for them, right?
The sign was actually the other piece of it. So we had talked about getting those metal signs made for the two
Yep.
courts. With their schedule, we had been putting it off because they kept asking for different schedules. So Meryl and I had agreed, like, let them get through last year, find a schedule that they feel like they can be consistent with, and then we'll get them printed to put them up in the spring.
Okay.
So pretty much their current schedule is the one that we have agreed on. And so that just needs to get like sent over to Signs Plus and kind of designed. And that's it. We had talked about maybe doing something like adding a QR code for a guest pass. I'm wondering, that might be a question to Signs Plus of like, can there be a space left open for a future? Or should we just commit and do it? Or maybe it's a later thing. I don't know. That might be like a design thing of, is this something that we can decide on later? And if so, can we leave a purposeful spot for this?
But that's something on a sign that's left out that, someone throws a rock at the sign and now it's not scannable.
Sure.
To me, it doesn't make sense. What makes more sense to me is, a piece of paper and a sleeve that they leave in the shed and can scan.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm great with that.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, the shed's going to be open for, someone dropping in anyway, right?
Yeah.
During those windows. So
Yeah.
in my mind, I wouldn't, I would think it's going to look a little hokey with a QR scannable code on a sign like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if, that's kind of a thing that you all could take on. And I'm thinking maybe the like marketing side, Laura, if you want to be part of in terms of design, and then the logistics of communicating with Signs Plus, Rick or Chris. But she tends to be pretty chill of just, sure, we can do that. And then she'll send the design. What do you think?
Yeah.
They're just over in Milford. If you haven't been over there, they're awesome. And they do all of our stuff. I have never done metal signs with them before, but all of our A-frames that we've done with them have been great and really just good to work with. So again, I'm saying I can do all this. Chris, you're taking notes, right?
I am taking notes.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna assign this to
Because,
somebody.
yeah, the number of hours that I'm on, I'm saying I'm going to do a lot of things, but if it can be in writing what I'm actually need to do, that would be ideal.
I'm doing
And
that.
then I can do it.
That way, when it spits back up, we
Right.
have
Yeah.
an opportunity to remember what it
That's
is.
it.
Dun-dun-dun.
I have you down for Steam Baby.
Yeah, I had a call
Baby
for
brain.
a reference. I had a call for a reference request for one of the summer staff kids today, and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm gonna forget every third word I'm trying to say to you." It was one of the funnier things. I was like, I'm gonna use a word that isn't right, but I think you're gonna figure out the word I meant to say. We're gonna go with that.
So the sign thing then, Laura, are you gonna take care of the pickleball sign thing, or do you want me to, or?
Let's work on it together. I'm definitely happy to be involved.
Okay, I'll be in charge of that then.
I mean, do we want to reach out to Maryland and get, an idea from them?
Well,
Even?
so I can send over. Meryl and I already have the agreement of the sign really just needs to say reserved for pickleball. and then the times. And what's hard is you have different seasons. So it's gonna, the design of the sign is the only hard part. The information we know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
how
got it.
to kind of lay it out in a proper way. I am assuming that Signs Plus can help with that. They probably do things like that. So
Yeah.
it might be a big lean on them of just saying, hey, we've never done something like this. Here's what we need on it. We don't know the best way to lay it out to make it easy to read. But what do you suggest? And if Laura, Chris, you all want, you could say, here's an idea I had, but also feel free to go with it. Or you can really just say, can you try? Can you try first?
Yeah, if
I
you
think
could
they
put
have great
yeah.
ideas. This is
Yeah.
their job. So,
yes,
Yeah.
send me the information on the contacts and all that stuff then.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then the other thing is, if we need to buy things, how does that work? Like, do I just pay for it and then get reimbursed, or what is it? How does it work?
Yeah, no. So I'll leave. Well, honestly, most things that we purchase through Amazon, and so I can give you the login to the, rep Amazon account, and then the nice thing, those are all just invoiced later. So, those can be turned into expense reports, sent into Kenny, and then he pays it.
Okay.
And so for me doing expense reports, maybe what it could be is you could take, make a, I'm guessing everybody here knows how to do it, but if not, let me know. But like a PDF out of
Yeah.
the page, hit print,
Yeah.
save as PDF. Yeah. So if you send that to me, then I can put it in my each week doing expense reports, or every other week, depending on the need. Doing expense reports, I can just put that in and send it over to Jess. Or again, if she's not cool with it, it's going right back to you, Chris.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
for things like
So-
Signs Plus, that's not like Amazon, so
Yeah, so that one, almost everything else
but
we
they'll
do,
bill
we get invoiced later. So
Oh,
it's the
okay.
same
Okay.
thing, that they give us an invoice
Okay.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already have our pickleball bag tags and our parking passes. So things like that are, again, invoiced later, but they're already purchased for the year.
Mhm.
Where are those?
Yeah, the parking passes are on my desk at the office.
Okay.
I keep forgetting to bring in my key to put them in the lockbox, in the lock drawer, so they're just out, which is great. And then the pickleball bag tags, I've already given them 150. We're a little over 100 in terms of registration, so they have enough for a bit of time. And then the box of backups are under my desk,
Okay.
just so they're not in line of sight. But I tend to, with pickleball, when they need more, I tend to pull out, if they need 20 or 30, I pull them out and I leave them on the empty desk next to mine. And then they're able to just stop in anytime town hall's open and pick them up. And I give them small portions at a time. This first time I gave them 150 because it was the start of the year and they had a bunch. But usually I give them 20, 30, maybe 40 at a time, just so that
Yeah.
they're not holding on to 400 of them.
Right.
Okay. So with that being the case, right, and knowing that they're there on Saturdays and Sundays, now hopefully that door is closed, right, and they can't actually get into the office
Yeah.
on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's just a matter of then kind of figuring it out with, if someone can swing through during the week, or, we grab them and then one of us, just runs down there when, Marilyn is there on a Saturday and we can just drop them with her.
Yeah, so again, that's why we don't even have that system. So she doesn't know I keep them under the desk. I had them locked up for a while and then it was just more annoying. She asks for them every few months because they have
Sure.
104 registrations right now, something like that, and I gave them 150. So they should be good for a bit. But if she does need more, I don't even try to coordinate being there at the same time as her. I just take out 20, 30, 40. I leave them on the desk downstairs. Nobody but Marilyn knows this is our system. And like you said,
Yeah.
nobody would come grab them.
Yeah.
Plus they all do a wonderful job of keeping track of who they've given them to. So even if someone got one ahead, they would just...
Right.
So there's not much of an advantage of people taking advantage of that, but
Yeah.
by just leaving them out on the desk, instead of leaving the box, by leaving the exact number out on the desk, then they can come by anytime they're free. So they typically don't do it during the weekends because, like you said, Rick, usually my door's locked. They typically just send some, Marilyn comes down anytime town hall is actually open during the weekday.
Got it.
And it's nice. It means that we don't have to logistically coordinate.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much it. We were gonna try to run a STEM program. I already canceled Monday. I'm gonna cancel Friday unless we splurge, get a bunch more registrations. We had a minimum of 6. We only have 2 registered, so I'm gonna cancel. Archery is self-run. We don't have to do anything for that. They send us an invoice. But again, marketing. So Laura, the marketing still needs to be for all these things when they're leading up. They need to get blasted out so people know they're happening. They start to register. They get a reminder, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So field request stuff
Yeah.
is, I'm just looking through, right, and both soccer and lacrosse have, so soccer's only asked for, looks like West River and Leland, and lacrosse has only asked for Leland.
Can I ask you to coordinate this?
I mean, I can, right?
Yeah.
Because, well, so what I was gonna ask is, did we actually open up dates for Kiwanis, knowing that it was closed in the fall?
Yeah, so the website doesn't have a lot of functionality to open and close. So I usually keep everything open. And then people have the ability to request whenever they want. And then we just change the requests to fit
Based
our
on it.
actual time from DPW. Because again, DPW doesn't, for instance, DPW still hasn't responded to our ask of the schedule for 2025. So I can't
Okay.
really close things because then we wouldn't get the reservation request. So I just leave it open at all times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the answer is yes, it's open. I don't know why they did put their stuff in.
Yeah, all right. So it's just a matter, I just want to go back and, kind of look, because it looks funky the way that it's showing right now, because one of the things I know we had on the agenda was taking a look at those field reservations, but I don't think they're complete because of it.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds correct.
all right,
you're-
so
you're on top
with
of
that being the case, we'll still have a meeting next month. I don't, most of the time we don't open the fields until the first weekend of April anyway. So I don't think, as much as I'd love to have it approved today, I mean, we could talk about it if we really needed it, but I think there's too many conflicts in its current form.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see, I don't see where they've asked for Kiwanis with,
Yeah.
and that's why it just seemed weird. That's
Yeah.
all. So,
They were trying to schedule to come in and get kind of finagle the lights. I wonder if they were waiting for them to be in the state they want before they asked, because they didn't know if they could ask that late. That's kind of my only guess, but otherwise,
yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do with using the field this spring, right? Because they're not going to use the lights,
that's true.
right? The spring, I mean, as it is now, it's almost, it's like 10 of 6 before it's really getting dark right now.
Right.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, we change the clocks again. So it's going to be, it's going to be 7 o'clock real quick. It's going to end up turning to 7 o'clock, and they're not going to need it. So, so in my mind, the light adjustment, while I agree, they're asking to do that while the field's frozen and you won't do damage to it. Perfect. But,
Yeah.
Not really for use for until the fall.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So-
Rick, you're gonna be on top of the scheduling piece then?
Yeah. I'll definitely, because I look at that as one of those other, field maintenance, facility rental type scenarios. And I know how to go in and do the approvals and,
Good.
put in, put some dollars in there so it'll send them an invoice and all that type of stuff too. So,
Cool.
it may be a little slower than what Maria does, but it'll come back to me.
It'll happen. It'll still
Hey,
happen.
Rick, I wanted to ask you, and I meant to ask Joe. I can ask him tomorrow when I go in. But your interpretation of how the select board meeting ended last time was, I want to see if your interpretation was fine. Was your interpretation that we still are able to pursue hiring a program director kind of in that new way, even though we didn't get the general fund funding approved, and that if we do go over, they would on the back end transfer kind of that overage to us? So they're saying we'll transfer it on the back end instead of giving it to you now.
That's exactly how I read it.
Okay.
So just for this was one of those items on how that meeting went with the select board. I would say it did not go well. I mean, it went okay, but we didn't get what we were looking for. As a matter of fact, I would say we didn't get what we were looking for and lost at the same time, because the other financial adjustments that we agreed to make on site improvements and the concert stuff was definitely taken. So, there was what, 8, 10 right there off the top. And then the 15.2 was not approved.
Yeah.
Right. Or that it didn't have a favorable action. So I don't see that going to the floor. And yes, I see that as if we do hire someone at for the summer and there's extra expense that ends up coming through, then that is something that we can put in for and use some unallocated funds to have covered.
Yeah. So that's kind of how my interpretation was, and I'll double check with Joe tomorrow. But for this conversation, kind of moving forward with that interpretation, the hard thing is going to be, so we cannot, or no, so we can now open up that, we don't have to wait for a town meeting because we have the funding in not having the funding.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
we were basically told, yeah, you go ahead and go and do it. We'll figure it out late. We'll cover it if we need to cover it if the normal funds and stuff don't, and we roll from there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk to Sandy and get her to open up that job posting ASAP. I don't know if she's gotten it through personnel board yet.
Okay. Let's if you're talking with Joe tomorrow, let's just verify that our interpretation of that is correct and that we are okay to move forward with the opening of that. I believe that is the right answer, but yeah, let's just get his backing and saying yes.
Yeah. So again, kind of going forward in that assumption, Sandy would need to post that ASAP so that we can start interviewing people. So Laura, that would be another marketing thing, in that we need to probably reach out to like every school in the area, and say, hey, there's a new position opening. If there's any teachers, obviously we're not only hiring teachers, we want to blast this on social media and everything too, but our best bet is going to be direct to schools and saying, if anybody knows of any teachers that, or anybody that you think would be qualified and interested, like, please pass this along. It's new. We'd love it. So Laura, are you comfortable reaching out to, my plan originally was going to be like, not just Nipmuc BBT, but like Grafton and Westboro and kind of anyone that would let us. Most schools, they have a person who filters these requests. So worst case, I just figure they say no. We won't advertise it.
Exactly.
But I was going to reach out to like every school in the area.
Yeah.
Like Touchstone.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Touchstone. Yeah. I know they have their own summer camp, but
Right.
They still might have a
Maybe not
teacher
everybody
who
works it.
Right, they might have a teacher who's not working it, but looking
Hmm.
for some hours. But yeah,
Yep.
every Pluff and Misco and everything, everyone.
Yeah, no, that
Because
makes sense.
that's our best way to try to find that kind of needle in a haystack person.
Hmm.
No, absolutely.
But Laura,
I
you
can-
feel comfortable doing that?
I can.
And
Absolutely. You'll give
obviously
me kind of
it'll
a
be-
base description.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it'll be once Sandy will post the job description. So then you'll
Yep,
have that
and then
job
I'll blast
description and you can just say, here's the job description. It's new, you know, we're trying to get this organized. Please, please apply.
Can you send that to this group? Because I can walk it across the street to my neighbor who's a teacher. I think he's in Mendon. I can't remember, but he might be interested too. So I can make a direct contact with him.
There you go.
Yeah,
Let's hire somebody right off the bat and then we don't have to worry.
There you go.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
If other, I was just gonna say, so Chris, for the most part, you know, anything that's over a certain amount, I think you've been the one signing off on those, right?
Yep.
I have
So,
one coming your way, by the way.
Fine. Yeah, I can do those right away.
but I think if there's, you know, if there's other financial type things like, so there was an email traffic today on Joe was looking for accounts that might have outstanding balances in CPA funds to do some lighting work up at Leland.
Mhm.
All right, I'm gonna say this even though we're being recorded. I'm actually a little pissed off about the inquiry, because we tried to do that with Sunset Sound and updating some of the surveillance infrastructure at the Ramsey building, and we were told you're not allowed to do that. Yet he's turned around and he's looking for other accounts that have funds available that had already been approved to use. We had that 35,000. There was 35,000 in one of the accounts, and we returned that because that was for a field assessment for moving the softball field from Kiwanis up to Leland before the Trask property opened up. So,
Yep.
And then when that opened up, we canceled that piece, and hence we sent the money. We sent the money back.
Hmm.
So it was just one of those. I did reply back to Joe with that information of, hey, this piece was canceled because of that, and hence we sent that money back to the undesignated accounts. But between us, I'm like, hey, I'm kind of ticked off about the fact that you're even looking that way in the first place, because we were given a pretty resounding no, you're not allowed to do that. So which would put us in a little bit of a bind in a different account. So and then it ended up crossing fiscal years. So it's kind of made this particular 25 year a little bit on the tight side.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough year.
Oh, okay, a lot on the tight side. Yes.
It's gonna be a rough year. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
especially
anyway.
with this new position that's also just pulling. We're absolutely gonna go over budget.
Right.
Yeah. So with all that being said, so if there are other financial questions and other things along those lines, let me take first crack at
Hmm.
right, which may end up meaning, Maria, maybe I think at one point we talked about Vadar and that type of stuff. Maybe that's just a, hey, let's share the access point of going in and the basic items, so that way in this particular case we have a backup plan.
Yeah. I can well, again, Chris, can you put on the list of the things I need to do? Send Rick.
Right. So
Send Rick the
yeah.
Vadar login information.
Yeah. I mean, I have been going, I have taken quick glances at Kenny's information that he sends out to us. So it seems directionally correct month to month in terms of, the roundabout numbers. We haven't talked about the specifics that have, gone into the reasons why, but they look directionally sound based on years of knowledge of how what's usually coming out when.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the big thing I see is just we need to start kicking butt on the Kids at Play marketing for the registrations. I think, we're not behind, but that's always the thing is we gotta
Yeah.
start blasting it so everybody's thinking about it now and we're in the conversation. So
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
kind of the first blast. It was to all the schools. It was in all of the kids' flyers. It was on all the TVs. It was on social media. Like we did that when we first opened. So I think it's time for kind of the next
Blitz.
blast out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Handicap stands.
No update.
Have we even looked at any at this point? Okay.
Nope.
So I'll take a look at those only because I think if we go back to the lights, the pathway and that type of stuff, I think one of the items for making sure we open that field back up is to have, bleachers or stands that are handicap accessible up on the top field at Kiwanis. So I'll take a look at those. I think someone sent us something on a style. Did Lynn send us? Do you recall a mail from Lynn? Kind of.
Could have, but I'm not remembering.
Yeah. So I don't know why it sticks out, but I think that there was something that I can go back and take a look at. The question ends up being is, do we get one or two? If there's a discount for getting a second one, do we try to get a second one? So we can put something maybe behind the backstop at Kiwanis, because that's the most logical place for it.
Yeah.
If there's room in that little grassy area.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that might be tough, but maybe.
Yeah. So, it may be one where I take a look at them and kind of go, okay, what's the sizing? Is there something there that we can do, and then, kind of figure it out from there. So I'll do my homework.
Okay.
Yeah. I just remembered another I had it on my checklist for around this period of time, which was it may be a just push it off another year thing, but last year we opened up accepting credit cards at the gatehouse. The swipers that we got just were very finicky, and it ended up being much easier for the gatehouse kids to just manually type in the credit card numbers. Funny enough, that was the more efficient system. So
Yikes.
that works. Usually, it's not like we have a 20 car backup. So sure, it takes some time, but they're doing one car at a time. It wasn't great. It worked. I want to try to switch over to some of the fancier ones. What is it? The squares and the clovers, and I don't know, one of the kind of more brand name styles. That is kind of a whole, this was my time to kind of start doing the research on which one would any of them plug into anything we already own? If not, does that mean we're buying an iPad? That type of ad with now this development feels maybe big, but it was tedious. So I think we could get through another summer without it. Or I might be back and try to rush something. I don't think it's worth trying to hand that off to any of you all. If anybody loves the idea of that project, you're welcome to it. But
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's something that I'm gonna kind of put on the back burner and say, if I have time, I have time. If I don't, we'll get through another summer.
Yeah,
That makes
like you
sense,
said,
yeah.
there's not a 50-car backup. I don't see them
Yeah,
chugging down the street.
Yep, and honestly, we typically don't get a lot of complaints from the people in the cars. It's typically that the kids are just like, it's annoying. Okay.
Yeah,
Guess what?
Yep.
Life is annoying. You're a kid. Get
Yeah.
over it.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
wrong. It is. Anything you all had been thinking of that we haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, well, so maybe the only other piece, right? So what day are we saying we're officially out? Was it Friday?
Me?
Yeah,
I'm saying I'm officially out starting Tuesday, but officially out, I don't have paid family leave.
yeah,
I
no,
have take vacation days and sick days. So I took
Fair. Yep.
right. So I took yesterday, tomorrow, and Friday off for this week. I took a half day today. Just kind of various. A lot of my half days, I'll be honest, this is on a recorded line, but that's fine. I'm fine with everyone knowing. It's not necessarily that I'm working 4 hours on this day. It's that I'm
No.
working 4 hours, but I'm not going to put in, hey, I did a half an hour here and I did 20 minutes here and I
Yeah.
did 10 minutes
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
I'm going to say I worked 4 hours.
Yep.
Here's where I'm designating them. So
It's
yes,
comp
it's on a
time.
recorded
No,
line. That's what I'm doing,
I get
everybody.
I get it. I guess
But
just
I'm gonna do it week by week. And I already messaged Sandy and Joe that, and Joe basically said, just go through Sandy. So I'm making the plan week by week. I'm definitely the current plan I have right now, kind of internally, just with myself, is through March. And it's what I was saying, which is really about 2 days a week. I'm gonna say that I'm working a half day. And then the other 3 days I'm fully taking off.
Mhm.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then I'll just adjust the actual inputs if anything changes, but mostly it's to cover the actual interviews, the coordinating of the stuff around the interviews, and then expense reports, payroll, things like that.
Mhm.
But so you're thinking through the end of March, right? Which, ideally is what, 6 weeks. So
Yeah, that wasn't really purposeful. That was mainly interview based. That's when I have current interviews scheduled through.
yeah,
And then applications are open, or applications close at the end of March. So I'm assuming we'll have to do another week or two of interviews
within April. Yeah,
within April.
Yeah.
But I mainly wanted to just look at my current bank of time off and see what it looked like with my plan right now through March. I
Okay.
don't know what things will look like in April. I would say the likelihood of me going back to 5 days in April is low, but I think right now my thing is more, I'm not it's more just, I'm going to do what I need to do to keep the department afloat and do things so that we can open, train,
Yeah,
schedule, whatever.
Yep.
And if I can do that in 3 days, then I can kind of mentally check out for 2 days. If I can do that in 4 days, I can mentally check out for 1 day. It's mainly going to be that, versus I'm not going to have a day where I'm like, all right, I'm all of a sudden back.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Well, and I guess that's kind of where I was going and just saying, okay, I get it. I was thinking that through the end of March seemed small, right?
Yeah.
Which is really where I was going, right?
Yeah,
Going,
same.
I was kind of assuming that would be more through April, right? And then, we start ramping back time more in the May window. But you're right, if it's unpaid leave at this point and we have the opportunity to use up all your sick and vacation times that have accrued, right? Well, so you're still getting, a fair paycheck week in, week out,
Right.
then, I'm assuming at some point that starts the rubber will finally start hitting the road. And it'll
Right.
be back to like a normal person's
Right.
allowance of carry, right?
Right. And that's
Like
exactly. And that
mine,
was
who
kind
that
of,
goes away.
Yeah, and that was kind of always the plan, by taking 0 sick days and 0 vacation days, it was to be ready for this. And that's exactly it, is it's going to start expanding through April, more in May. Even in May, I'm not thinking I'm coming back to 5 days because I think I can do it without it. Again, some weeks maybe I'll need to, but it's really gonna be, I'm gonna
I get
do
it.
the job in the fewest days I can, but I'm gonna do
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
And then obviously once Kids at Play opens, that's going to be a whole other ball game. But at that point, again, this is all getting ahead of ourselves. That's assuming we still have her, which fingers crossed we do. I'm kind of planning my life at this point as if we do, because it's easier
Of
to roll
course.
back
Yeah.
the other way.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
And we're
once
supportive of that. Yes.
yeah, once Kids at Play opens, there's gonna kind of be another conversation around this, and obviously with me and Grace. But my plan is to be quite present and just maybe have a baby on my, in a carrier sometimes. Like if it's, I'm, not maybe gonna be out there 8 hours at a time, but if I need to have a conversation with a parent, or I need to help in this situation, or someone doesn't understand this, or I'm doing my kind of normal pop-in and check-ins, I might do more runs to town hall to get some AC, but otherwise that's a little bit of the plan. And then also Grace is trying to take her to work a bit with her, so she's going to test that out. So we're going to juggle,
Sure.
but I'm trying not to take time off in the summer so that I can be available for on call. And then I'll more like retroactively take time off, be like, cool, no one needed me for that half day. And realistically, I was just home with baby. So I'm going to put in a half day of it was off. But if they did need me, I was ready to go, but maybe just with baby in tow.
Yeah.
And there's somebody who lives really close to Kiwanis that's not working this summer and really loves babies.
Yeah.
And same
Perfect.
with my wife. My wife is more excited than you even about the baby. So.
Beth and I will be fighting over the baby.
Yes, yeah.
I
You'll
love
have
My
it.
turn for the
to get out
baby.
with Beth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say, and I appreciate you all saying that, that's kind of been the biggest thing, is our community has come out of the woodwork and just been like absolutely phenomenal, and they're all saying very similar things, kind of knowing the nature of Grace's situation with her job and the situation with mine, of like, you need to drop baby off, you need, someone to bring you dinner, if you need this, like, that's what we're here for. And long term, again, yes, there's going to be daycare, there's going to be a schedule, there's going to be whatever, but
Right.
with how she kind of started her world, we're trying to limit how much craziness is in.
Right,
So
Sure.
consistency, building attachment, all of that in the first 3-ish months is kind of our main priority.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
But if
for
this thing,
sure.
like anything, like you have to come into Upton and emergency situation, you've got Laura and I here as well, and my wife is very excited too. So
Beth and I can hang out with said baby,
there,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. Luckily, we'll see, as you all know, as people with kids, things will change as she gets older, but currently she loves everybody holding her at all times. She's not picky at all, so she would love that.
How does she do with dogs, though?
Yeah. I don't know if she's ever met a dog. That'll be interesting.
Right?
We have no information about what her life
Yeah,
is.
no,
Well, we have
Right.
we have some sad information, but we don't have any like just factual information of that kind about what her life was like
Yeah.
Sure.
pre us. So there's a lot of news.
Yeah.
Do you need anything like clothes, diapers, anything like that?
Yeah, I appreciate the ask. Again, our community. By the time we got home from the hospital, our friend had dropped off a pack and play, like we call it the donut, that little foam thing, a bunch of food, diapers in our garage because she couldn't get into our house. So she just dumped like everything there.
Wow.
We had a friend, or one of the girls who works for Grace, who we've kind of become friends with. She has spent the last 4 days going on all of the buy nothings and asking for clothes. And
Oh.
I'm not kidding, she dropped off a bag this big of
Yep.
baby clothes from the buy nothings. We've
Yep.
had friends, our fridge is full of food because everybody who comes to visit baby brings us food. Like we
Yes.
are we have a bassinet from a friend, so that was free. We have a changing table. Like we are
Yeah.
good
Perfect.
because of our community.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
I
if that dries up at all, I work
Yeah.
miracles through Buy Nothing.
thank you.
Do you
I
have one of those
appreciate that. Yeah.
gliding rockers? We have one of those gliding rocker things.
I actually might take you up on that because that
Yes.
is one of our big purchases that we were gonna look into this weekend.
We have a
We
nice.
have a I'm gonna say yes to that actually.
Yeah.
Can you take a picture of that and email or text it to me?
Yep. Let me dig it out. Yep.
That would be
absolutely.
amazing. That
Well,
I'm not kidding. We have 2 things on our list and that was one of them. And I
What's
don't
the
know the
other?
other one is off the top of my
It-
head.
We'll check
it's
it out.
actually kind of funny because we've got one as well, and it's kind of in a different office room area tucked
Yeah.
away, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So yes,
Not to be, I'm just gonna say it bluntly. Rick, can you also send me a picture? Only because we have such a small room. I'm gonna take the smaller one. So looking at both of them, whichever one takes up the less amount of space, I'm gonna
Yep.
say yes.
I'll
to-
send you the measurements too. Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick will have to duke it out.
Yeah. Actually,
Hey,
let me get rid of my blur. You all will like this.
I was gonna say you got a big crayon. It looked like a big crayon behind you.
Oh, Grace has just sent me murals.
Wow, that's awesome.
But
Oh,
you'll see another one
gorgeous.
of her murals. So this is one of her murals, but this is Bassinet.
Yeah.
And then around it is our workout space because this was our workout gym until 4 days ago. So we have all
Ah.
of our weights, our squat rack, and it's all hanging out over her bassinet.
It's
Uh-huh.
gonna be buff. This is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
this baby.
Yeah. Once Grace
Little
isn't in
curls.
the yeah, once Grace isn't in the office anymore, that's getting packed up and going to the garage. And then where I usually take my meetings from is now her changing station. So that was my
Aw.
office until 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Best
So yeah,
reason
this
to
room
change up
is
ever.
getting
Yeah.
transformed,
Yeah.
but it's very small, but it's all been great. But actually, yeah, I appreciate that. I can't remember off the top of my head our other big purchase that we were gonna like sit down and look at this weekend.
I'll shoot it
Yeah,
out as a
it's-
text because I pretty much
Yeah, if you
guarantee
think
I
about
can
it,
make
yeah.
it happen.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And then you know what is amazing? DCF reimburses. So they were like any needs that like, if you want a $3,000 stroller, that's on you. But if you need a
Yeah.
stroller, like that's on us. So any needs they will reimburse for, which is just amazing because again,
That's
our community's
fantastic.
been great and we haven't bought much.
Yeah.
But the things that we have bought, they're like, don't feel bad about it. Send us the receipts.
Wow,
that's what
that's
it's here
good.
for.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's been huge to just feel like we can just actually get the things that we need that will
Yeah. Sure.
love
fit
that.
fit in our small house because free stuff's great, but free stuff that doesn't fit in our house, it doesn't
Oh,
really.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good.
Yeah.
The,
It's funny. I've got I have an old school bassinet that I was in as a kid that
Oh,
my kids were in.
yeah.
That's upstairs as well. So
I love that.
cool.
Yeah, all this stuff, we already have the carriers from people and it's the same thing. And we're like hanging out with the 9-year-old who's now holding our baby who was
Yeah.
carried in the carrier that her mom
Yes.
just brought over. And just,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And by the way, I know Chris said, his wife is happy. My wife goes, I can go to Carter's and shop.
That's exactly what my wife said. Exactly the same mindset.
yes.
Very sweet.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
My own
I
are giving
definitely-
me babies soon, so you're gonna reap some benefits of that.
Well, I definitely appreciate all that. And yeah, we didn't even we talked a lot. We were like, we gotta start building community here. And then this happened and it goes, oh, it turns out we've done that. We have.
yeah.
Like
yeah,
our
yeah,
You got it.
we didn't kind of realize we had until this, and it's been amazing.
Yeah,
That's
good,
great.
Very cool.
awesome.
All right, Maria,
Just
you
a
want to stay on and we'll set a date?
Yes.
Yeah, and a couple of other things just to finish up.
Yeah.
Was the email for the CPC representative from RecCom? You're still doing that, right, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, oh, maybe I misread that, but I thought it was if that's not right or there's changes to let us know. So I didn't reply back because I was on, so.
Yeah, I mean, it said you end in 2025, so I wasn't sure what month in 2025, but it's
Yeah, well, that's May, right?
okay.
Right, because it's at the next town, well, it's
Town-
at the next vote piece,
Election.
Okay.
so,
Okay.
right, because all of us, the three of us are on 3-year terms, right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And mine's the one that's up this year.
Right. Right.
Hey, are you gonna come back?
That was Denise's other half of her text message to me saying, hey, are you looking to pull papers? Hey, buddy. Hey, no, come here for a second. So, right, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh,
Well, I
Larry.
don't know if you can see this guy next to me. So this is
Hi.
one of your drop-in volleyball players.
Nice. Perfect.
So-
Awesome.
He's my 20-year-old son, Cody. So he
Nice.
Hi, Cody.
he,
Hey,
he
Cody.
goes, yeah, I don't know. And anyway, so he's using recreation time probably more than I am.
Good.
Good
That's
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. By the way, you okay with the change from $7 to $8 a night?
I don't care.
I have heard zero complaints.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Well,
That's great.
a lot of places volleyball wise can get up like $10 for rec nights, $20 for tournaments.
Oh wow. Huh.
So, I mean, really depends. So this is still a pretty cheap and easy place to go to. So
The
Yeah,
bargain.
that's awesome. Glad
Yeah.
to hear. Cheap and easy. That's our brand.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
exactly.
might want to drop cheap and easy, but
Yeah.
All right,
Good
but
value.
$10. All right, I heard you.
Yeah.
let's say affordable and approachable.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is why you're the marketing person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, business school kicking in. There we go. All right,
All right.
cool.
One of the
right.
minutes from last meeting. Everybody okay with those?
You got it.
Did you read them?
Say that again.
I'm just kidding.
I did not. I absolutely did not.
I browsed over
like,
them.
I'm gonna put in like some weird thing in the
if
next
you
one.
wanted,
Just,
Yeah.
guys
I
actually
can
read-
also help out with like the Excel
Yeah.
stuff.
If
over
you
the
read
spring,
this, you
if
get
that helps.
$100.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
That's
going to
always
say Mary
like
had a
reminding
little
Joel,
lamb, like we used to do in
all
our
that stuff.
papers back
Yeah.
when I was in school,
You know,
to see if the teachers actually read
Might
them.
help you,
Yeah.
especially since it's registration stuff.
Exactly.
But, yeah, and I know that's coming up.
But no,
Got
I
it.
didn't. Usually I do.
All
I did not this time.
I'm joking. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. I'll put those into to Denise then.
Sounds good.
The minutes, Rick.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no, I had looked at them. Yeah, nothing
Okay.
that I was looking, or I don't remember anything that looked odd.
Okay. And then these minutes from tonight, I'm gonna send out like by Friday, just so because things need to be done soon.
Yeah.
And responsibilities need to be taken. So I'll send those out Friday.
Okay.
If you could take a look and make sure that I got everything right as to thing coverage and things like that, that would be really good.
I
Okay.
already
On you,
forget
Maria.
what we
Make sure
said,
it's
so
perfect.
they're gonna be great.
And then
Hey, well, we've got it recorded if needed.
That's
So
true.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
I was gonna
How do you
I was
access
gonna
these
ask, was
things?
Denise asking us to start recording these? Is that what?
So
Were they
what's funny
recorded before?
is I know last month we didn't record,
right.
right? And maybe the last couple of months we haven't. And she seemed to like jump right in and say we still have the need to record. So
Oh,
or at least that was the interpretation read that I had from it, right? Because she was very quick to turn it on. So
mm,
Sure.
so I'm not,
Okay.
so my assumption is we probably should still be doing it. And, if it's there and it needs to be pulled in, it can be made available. So,
and how do you
Makes
access
sense.
these recordings?
so in the past, the media guy would put it on, there's like a Upton,
The calendar.
a
The-
calendar
the agenda.
channel thing that you can go in and look at,
Okay.
like you could review um, the select board meeting, and you can go in and find, whatever they end up posting up there, you can
Oh,
go
okay.
and watch those meetings. So,
Okay. Yeah, because I remember Lori Woden asked about, was the meeting recorded, and I was like, I have
Right.
no idea.
Right.
But
and
okay.
in that one, it might have, but if we needed it, usually if it gets to about, an hour and a half or something like that, then it starts being too big to electronically send. So they find it easier. We'll just post it on the site, and then you can just go in and watch it. Right.
Right.
Now, if we're trying to do that for meeting minutes, it's kind of one of those,
Yeah.
when do we upgrade this system to say, hey, just turn on the AI capabilities
I was
and
just gonna say
let it
AI.
let it take meeting minutes for us, right?
Yeah.
And then we just sanitize what we need to sanitize for,
Yeah.
sensitivity things, right?
Outward
And then we go from there.
Yeah,
I guess
Otter AI.
I don't trust Al.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Scares me to death, but Otter AI, I'm hearing good things about it.
Hmm.
I was told
It-
legally in my profession, no, but
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I've been using it a little bit for some of the soccer stuff, and it's made a world of difference of just saying,
Oh, good.
from a timing standpoint, to get things back out to the 30 different towns. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for us.
That's
So
awesome. Good.
Yeah.
and accuracy I hear is pretty decent with Otter, not so much with some of the others.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's I forget the other name that one of the guys at Mass Youth was using, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one came out spectacular. And he goes, yeah, I've used a bunch, and this is the best one he had found. So,
Good.
Wow. I'm
but yeah,
old-fashioned, but
All right.
anyway. So for next meetings, right? So
Yeah.
I know we're kind of establishing this on kind of the third Wednesday of the month right now.
yeah.
We just keep that cadence, and the next meeting, feasibly, what we're probably doing is just reporting out on, I give a quick update on some of my pieces. Chris, you do the same. Laura, you do the same. And then, there's certain things that Maria, we'll just take turns on, kind of giving our quick status area updates on quick
Mhm.
status areas, and away we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I'm probably gonna just say I won't keep up with is the FY17 to now, kind of that one where I had been labeling them all of the
Yep.
transactions, so that you all could see kind of the within the budget breakdown. I'll be honest, I'm probably not gonna keep that up for the next, month or two. So that type of update in the meeting, unless,
Yeah.
we can copy what Kenny sends, so
Yeah.
that you can kind of see those but I'm
It
not
should,
gonna be on
yeah,
top of
it's
that.
gonna be pretty quiet anyway, right?
Yes and no, but again, at some point it's going to be the t-shirts. I know I owe
Right,
pickleball
right.
some pickleballs. There are going to
Yeah.
be some things, and then deposits for field trips, things like that. So there is going to be some stuff that hits. Actually, Chris, I got to send over the invoice for, I think, the parking passes. Just it was above my limit, but
Okay.
I'll get that over to you. So I have on my thing that we had planned for March 19th. Does that still work for
That's
everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. I definitely appreciate you all stepping up and
We
grabbing
appreciate
some of
you.
these things.
Yeah.
We appreciate
you hopping on, too.
beyond words and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
excited. So
Thank you.
excited.
Thank you. Hey, Chris, yeah, thanks for making that to-do list for me because it's all already out. It's already gone.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna put that out by Friday, so
Thank you.
Yeah.
everybody
So-
can take a look.
So full night sleeps, not gonna happen for a while. You do your things in shifts,
Yeah.
right? Rest when baby rests as well. Microwave popcorn, once all your refrigerator piece food
Yeah.
goes away, microwave popcorn becomes your best friend.
Got it.
Or
Yeah.
call us up and we'll restock your fridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we certainly will.
No, I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you
All right.
all. I will
All right, thanks.
eventually be talking to you all.
All right, take care,
Minutes of your
guys.
time,
Sounds good.
Right?
Adjourning at 8:29.
There we
Alrighty.
go.